Good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another round of the season here for Tier 2 at Gavra Racing. We're live for rounds 9 and 10 here in the Budapest region of Hungary for this next round of the championship. We've got wet conditions out on circuit, and the drivers in Tier 2 are going to have a lot of challenges facing them out on circuit. Very quickly, I'm going to run through the championship standings so we can get on with the on-track action. It's Money Game leading the way. He's got a 51-point lead. Our runaway championship leader at the moment is on 153. Frizzy Prism is second on 102 points. Those two, realistically, the two fighting it out for the title. Third place is F1 Dino on 79 points. Overwatch still in fourth on 77, despite the fact that he's no longer in Tier 2. Morocom rounds out the top 5. The Czech driver, I can't see him in for tonight, unfortunately. So he won't be gaining any more points there. For the championship standards for the teams, it's 165 points for Alfa Romeo, which is Money Game and Fake Knudsen. McLaren are second on 126, that's Dino and the Steps. Haas are third on 102, which is Frizzy Prism. One of the drivers out tonight on circuit, the other driver not available. Alpine are fourth on 86, that's Denmark and Spanel. And then fifth are Aston Martin on 68, which you can see is Jarno the Killer. And tonight, a debutant of Soa 1099. Good to see him out in Tier 2 this evening. Hello to everybody who's commenting in the chat room earlier. And a good thank you to 3DPrinting4u for sponsoring this season here at Gavra. It's delightful to have them on board, as Money Game just goes a little bit quicker on a 126.1. Our championship, long-time championship leader, again taking charge at the front of the pack so far in qualifying. We've still got 10 minutes remaining, so there's still a long way to go, and the track conditions can ebb and flow, of course, here on F123, so expect maybe some improvements in lap time. There's Dr. Strauss up there in third as well. Jay Evans is fourth. See if we can get a lap on board with anybody. We've got Mikey in the Ferrari. I think he's gone across the line there and done a 128.1. Shortbread saying he forgot the rain exists. If you live in the UK, Shortbread, which I know you do, then that is peculiar, I have to say. Rain exists. It's done nothing but that, considering in the UK. But we are out on circuit. There's 14 corners here at the Hungary Ring in the Magyarod region. It's been open for the best part of nearly 40 years now. The Hungary Ring opened in 1986. It's been on the calendar ever since then, pretty much. No real issues. The first race, of course, behind the so-called Iron Curtain at the time in the USSR. And Hungary was that circuit. Had quite a mixed reception when it first came out. Alan Jones wasn't particularly a fan of it, said it was too tight and technical. Alan Jones, of course, a former F1 champion, but it's been a big favourite for a lot of drivers ever since. And one thing which we're experiencing right now is the wet weather. And that has always been a feature of the Hungary Ring. One of those tracks where it can be very varied, no matter what the summer conditions might be. Typically, the race in Hungary is held in July. But regardless of that, typically you can get rain at any point for whatever reason in the Central European region. Well, we shall see how the drivers navigate these corners. One thing that I have noticed is that Soa up in second place, just on a brand new fresh set of those intermediate tyres, actually just getting out of the way of one of the cars further up the road, one of the Red Bulls. I think that would have been Sick Boys on his outlap. But a very impressive start for him, running in second on debut, the number 50. As Dr. Strauss and Jay Evans are in the pits. I noticed that Money Game is just going round and round on the same set of intermediate tyres, which I think is the best strategy, to be honest. The intermediates are a very resilient type of tyre. It's not like a qualifying tyre where you do one lap and that's the best of the performance gone. The intermediates can just keep pounding round. I money game, the steps, JB Surreal, Spannel, Mikey, Line of Greasby, they're all doing the same thing. Look at that money game, another fastest lap of 25.8. So the intermediate's proving that you can just keep pounding around the circuit, providing you fill the car up. We've got an Alpine we're on board with though. Looks like it's Spannel who just goes into the 27.6. He's breaking into turn one. Oh, he's just clipped the grass on the outside, and that's going to see him skate off the road and past the AstroTurf. Back on the circuit, no harm done, but that's the trepidation that you have in these conditions here at Gavra in the intermediate tyre. Around Hungary, it's kind of a street circuit in a sense. It's very, very close together in terms of the walls. There's lots of opportunities for drivers to make a mistake. The curbs around here are especially challenging. We've got a couple of drivers who are in tier one who are commenting saying they're hoping for some rain later. I'm sure they will be hoping for that. Spannel's just clipping over the curbs as we watch him. Jarno, only driver not to yet set a lap time. The Aston Martin, his teammates up in third. Dino's gone second with his most recent lap. And Jarno is going to come around this final corner. Down through the gears. Traction control helping him out of the final corner. What's this lap time going to be from Jarno? It's a 27.9. Puts him 13th position. I have to say that the wet conditions in F123, this is one of those times where traction control does not help you go any quicker. You're better off not running any TC in the wet weather conditions so that you can modulate the throttle a lot better than what the traction control does. But I know that there are some drivers who are afraid to do that, and I can't blame them. They want to make sure they keep it in a straight line as opposed to raw speed. Let's see what everybody else is doing out on track. We're following one of the only Haas on circuit, which is Frizzy. Coming through turn number 5 there. He's on the brakes down into turn 6 and 7. Over the curbs. Very difficult, look at that, and the grass just sucking him out further wide. Using third gear, just lightly treading over those curbs. You don't want to use too much of them. And into the right-hander at turn 11. Oh, a lot of commitment from the Haas driver. He's improving. And bear in mind, Dino has exactly the same lap time as Frizzy, who is a 10th up on his lap, but I think he may have just invalidated his lap time. According to the indicator, it says he has. One final cut, yeah, and sure enough, Frizzy's going into the pit, so no improvement for him. Money Game's got a new set of fresh intermediate tyres on. And with 4.5 minutes remaining, he'll get a few laps, so are running out wide. On board with the second of the Mercedes, which is Praise the Fat Man. And he's gone into 7th place. He went slower on that lap. He's going to run out of his battery, I think, around this lap. Good effort from Dr. Strauss. That's a good effort from the other Mercedes. That's second place. Definitely improving his qualifying performances as Dr. Strauss. I've noticed that in the last few weeks. Number 42 is trying to do his utmost to improve. And the McLaren there of the steps, who's surprisingly lower down at the moment as the steps. You would expect him to be higher up. These are the conditions that you would expect a tier 1 driver to be thriving in a little bit more. There's a yellow flag out there, but nothing major. Having said that, Steps is just at a purple second sector, and he's 4/10 up currently, which would put him, well, realistically, it would only put him a place higher than where he already is. So he's got to find all of his lap time around turn 14 if he can. One of those corners where you can find a lap. And what is it from the steps? He's going to do a 27 flat. So the steps is just struggling for speed. In the intermediates, maybe he's hoping for a dry race. Denmark, fake Knutson in the pits. Spannel's out there. On track on an out lap. JMB Surreal's just getting out of the way, and Sick Boy's got no energy battery left. One of the Ferraris emerging from the pit lane, which is Line of Greasby. He's kind of stopped, actually, at the end of the first corner, but he's just getting out of the way of everyone. It's Milo Bello at the back of the field on a 28.6. Milo, after having some good, he got some points last week at Las Vegas. But he's not improving on his lap here in the first sector. He's half a second down. Whilst we have seen improvements, and in fact, there you go, Milo Bello just pulling out the way of one of the Alfa Romeos. Looks like that would be Fake Knudsen, I think. It's actually Money Game who's on a lap at the moment. But he isn't improving either, so maybe the weather conditions in this last final part of qualifying are just starting to come away from the drivers. Money Game, oh, that's a bit messy. Money Game lets Milo Bello back through. They're both not on laps though, so it's not going to be an issue. Everybody bar Sick Boy is out on circuit. Sick Boy kind of needs to get out, to be honest. He's only got a minute and 45 seconds remaining, and if he doesn't get his car out, yellow flag's being pinged everywhere, but that's just because cars slowing down. This is it, the last minute or so of the session, and I don't think Sick Boy is going to get out. I think his qualifying's done, so 27.8 leaves him vulnerable to everybody behind him. Watching Spannel coming around the penultimate corner, then towards the final corner. Runs a little bit wide, a little bit of understeer in that Alpine. Forces the car wide. He's going to have enough time to do another lap. It'll be a 26.8, which is a good effort from him. He'll be happy with that, but Spannel typically wants to shine in these wet weather conditions. He's normally very good. And he runs very deep and the exit of turn 1. So that's his qualifying run and done. He's not going to get another chance to do another lap. Gets overtaken by Praise the Fat Man. So now we are in the last few moments of qualifying. Money Game on a lap, the man on pole, and he's improving in sector 1. In towards turn 6 and 7 through the chicane, doing well to avoid those curbs. And then along the next left and rights here at turns 8 and 9, then turn 10. Nice and committed through there. He doesn't downshift until midway through the corner to get the car turned in nicely. And he's half a second up. And the championship leader is looking absolutely faultless. Frizzy goes second, but he's at half a tenth behind pretty much at the minute. That's not going to be the case. Money Game just needs to see this lap out. That's the steps up to 4th. That's more like it from the McLaren driver. But Money Game, I think this is going to be a hook, line and sinker of a lap here. It is indeed. It's a 25 flat. He's nearly a second clear of Frizzy Prism. And confirmation realistically that he needs to be in tier 1. He's far too fast for tier 2. Who else is coming across the line? Praise the Fat Man's just gone across. There's an Alpine now coming along at Spannel. What about the Alfa Romeo behind? Fake Knudsen gets in the top 10. Aston Martin coming across the line of what would have been Soa, who goes quick. That's a really good effort from Soa. Right within 2 and a bit, well actually within a tenth and a half of Money Game. So good effort from the Aston Martin driver. Anybody else on a lap? I'm just trying to look and see. One of the McLarens coming around the final corner, which would be Dino. And that puts him 3rd. So on the front 3 places is Dino. I think Milo Bello's the last driver who's going to get a lap in. He is improving on his lap, Milo. He's got to get these final 3 corners right. If he can do that, he can usurp the Ferraris. 2 corners to go for the AlphaTauri driver. 1 corner, it's been tidy enough, but is it quick enough? And Miller would be chuffed if he could get past the 2 Ferraris, if he can. And he gets past one of them and it puts him 16th. It splits the Maranello squad, but Money Game in a planet of his own with Soa. I've got to say, Frizzy, that's a good effort as well to get up to 3rd. We didn't catch that, but he's up there. That's pulled the drivers a bit close together. 4 cars in the 25s. 7 cars in the 126s, 3 of them in the 27s and the other 3 in the 28s. And 3 seconds covering the entire field. But I have to say, Soa and Money Game, they're good efforts for them. Frizzy will be encouraged by that. He's not far away from the Alfa Romeo on pole. Dino on the 2nd row. Jarno saying he was up 9 tenths until the final corner. and then validated his lap, which is a shame because it would have put him probably 10th or 11th. So let's look at these qualifying results then for the first race of the evening here with Tier 2. It's Money Game on pole position. It's Soa in second. Frizzy and Dino are on the second row of the grid. It's Dr. Strauss in the steps on row 3. Praise Fatty and Denmark are 7th and 8th, with Fake Knutson and Spanel rounding out the top 10. Outside the top 10, you've got the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri of J Evans and JMB Surreal respectively. Sick Boy and Yarno in 13th and 14th. Mikey and Mellow Bello on row 8, and Lionel Griesby at the back on his own on row 9 in 17th place. In terms of those who are commenting, which is Pusher Dino, what's the weather looking like for the main race? I'm curious. Hello to everybody who is watching so far tonight. Great to see all of you in. Looks like it's a dry one for the start of the Grand Prix, and it looks like it's going to be dry all the way through. So maybe we'll see a little bit of a difference in the race pace of the drivers. You never know. There could be some of them out there just running a dry setup and might show a little bit more speed come the main race. So the Hungaroring, 3 iterations of circuit since it opened in '86. The first track was very similar to what we see today. We've got the 5 red lights coming up here for the first race of the evening. And the race is live here at Hungary. It's a good start from the front row for Frizzy Prism. He's up to second already. Money Game's going to be clear into turn 1, but Frizzy's going to look to the outside line. Everybody trying to stay well behaved. The 2 McLarens and the 2 Mercedes run 2 by 2, but Dr. Strauss goes past the steps thanks to his traction. Towards turn 2 they blast. There's a yellow flag out there. That's one of the Ferraris, and unfortunately enough it's Mikey who's gone round. Steps is fighting with Fake Knutson for 6th place, but he stays in front for the time being. I forgot to mention in terms of today that it is just the one race of how it is. There's damage out there. It's carbon fibre flying all over the place, and that is Denmark in the wall. Further back, no safety car. And we carry on as normal. But it's Money Game at the front of the pack. And he's got half a second to Frizzy in front of him. A good start for Frizzy. The front 2, by the way, on the soft compound tyre. The top 5 are on the mediums, which is Dino, So and Strauss. So those front 2 are already pulling away from Dino. The gap nearly a second. Poor start for So. He's dropped from 2nd to 4th. J Evans moving up to 8th place. Doesn't look like there's been too much carnage outside of Denmark and Mikey. Both of them have damage. Jarno's gone in the pits as well. Denmark, I don't think Denmark's actually had any damage, so he carries on. But Money Game under increasing pressure from the Haas, and Dino and Soa fighting very hard into turn 2. And that's a good lunge from the Aston Martin. He's up the inside. But Dino not giving it up at all. Good racecraft between the two. Really nice to see them. But Dino back in front of the Aston Martin, but they're 1.3 behind. Well, I haven't said that. I think Frizzy's had a little mistake out there. There's the strategy. Soft to medium should be pretty much straightforward around here. It's not a circuit where you'd expect a lot of tyre wear because of its slow nature as opposed to the high-speed corners of other circuits on F1. But Money Game's got himself a 1 second advantage here. Dino running up in 3rd place. So far, so good for those drivers. The steps is on the back of this train of cars. But it's been good to watch. Money Game need fastest lap of the race, but I have to say Frizzy's giving it his all, trying to get back into that DRS window, which is now activated on this lap, and Frizzy's well within that. And that's Soa again trying to find a way past Dino. And he might just have the opportunity now to go through on the McLaren. He's on the inside of turn 2, and that's Soa through. But Dino just not giving up at all. And unfortunately, we were watching Frizzy instead. But that was really good racecraft. Soa went through. And Dino can't fight back on that one. And Soa, after his poor start, back up to third. He needs to get himself going now. Let's see if the drivers can hold on. But 25 laps for the drivers. And Frizzy Prism is going well. He's running right with Money Game. Soa's there in third place. Frizzy will have DRS on this lap. He'll be close enough to be able to make Money Game aware of the fact that he's there. Look like he'll be close enough for a move, nor will Dino. Will be on the rest of them. Fake Knutson under pressure from Praise the Fatty into turn one. The Mercedes going to the inside line. He just doesn't have the traction that the Alfa Romeo has. Outside for turn two. Ooh, a little bit of contact between them, just side pod to side pod. And Praise the Fatty has gone up to 7th place. And hang on a second, because Fake Knutson's trying to fight his way back. This is going to be tight into turn four. We give each other enough room to go through. Jay Evans is watching that. Wow, Fake Knutson tries to look at the inside at turn 5. That's brave from Jay Evans. He isn't close enough. Don't forget, Jay Evans on the medium tyres, so he's doing well just sticking with these guys. He's got Spannel right behind him. JMB Surreal in 11th, kind of on his own. He's got his teammate not too far behind. It's Liner Griesby, Sick Boy in Denmark, recovering from whatever happened to him at the start of this race. Jarno and Mikey way, way further back, unfortunately, for those two guys. Money Gabe, though, looking very strong here. He keeps breaking the DRS on Frizzy very briefly, but the problem for him is that Frizzy always gets that little activation moment. And you can see how quick that the straight line. Okay, very quick, but Money Game just managing himself at the front here. Following Dr. Strauss in 5th position. Dino now over a second behind the Aston Martin. Fake Knutson and Jay Evans still fighting over 8th place. And Fake Knutson shows the door to Jay Evans. But we're a third of the way through this race, lap 5. Certainly one of those tracks where anything can happen around here, very tight technical. We're just settling into a rhythm here at Mogorod. There's just a few gaps appearing around the track. Frizzy Prism doesn't seem to have the pace in the middle sector compared to Money Game, so he falls back a little bit, and then he struggles through this left-hander. But he just keeps hanging on to DRS, so he's doing all right. Jay Evans is still right there with Fake Knutson, who's almost lost DRS. I think he got it just about. And Jay Evans will be hoping that Fake Knutson doesn't have DRS on the next lap, realistically, because that's kind of impeding his progress a little bit. Those soft tyres will be a little bit second-hand now by this point. That's Sick Boy making a move on Liner Griesby for 13th position. Just watching those two further back. Frizzy's got the gap closer down, but the problem for Frizzy is that he is pushing absolutely flat out. Well, he can't quite get close enough to Money Game to challenge. Soa still in this race. I tell you something, Soa's having a fantastic race here. He's only 2.5 seconds behind our race leader. He's doing a good job. The steps were following. The steps just hasn't got past Dr. Strauss and Dino. He's stuck in that train. And it's not helping him at all. I'll tell you who will be looking to make a move, though, in a moment's time, as Jay Evans is on the inside of Fake Knutson at the penultimate corner. Is that a bit of tactics from Fake Knutson? No. Jay Evans has gone past. But he's going to have DRS on the Alfa Romeo. And he's going to close that gap down to the Red Bull. Dr. Strauss has gone past Pino for 4th place. They're side by side. Oh, what has happened there? They've just come across one another. And unfortunately, Dr. Strauss is facing the wrong way. I think that was side pod to side pod. I couldn't quite tell from the angle. That corner does tighten up. But unfortunately, it is the Mercedes who comes off worse. So the Steps now has his teammate in front of him in 4th position. Spallel in 9th, just on the back of Fake Knutson, and Jay Evans has pulled away from the Alfa Romeo, so Jay Evans was just stuck behind him for a few laps too long. Spannel clearly managing his tyres a little bit better here. This has been an interesting race so far, has to be said. A lot of intrigue going on. Following the Alpine of Spannel behind Fake Knutson, he's got DRS, he's got a lot of battery available to him, but Fake Knutson's got a quick car in a straight line. It's going to be a little bit harder for the Alpine to go through. He's got J&B Surreal as well right behind him for company. Liner Griesby has gone past Sick Boy. I think he's had a little bit of a moment out on track. And Spannel and Fake Knutson. That's Spannel going way off the road. That was a fight between the two. I don't think Spannel will be too pleased about that. J&B Surreal's just watching this. And J&B Surreal might have the inside line at turn 9. It's not normally an overtaking manoeuvre through there, but he couldn't quite make it. Spannel looking like he's struggling now. Just offline a couple of corners around the track, and he's slowing down. And it's allowing the AlphaTauri to get in the mix with him. Oh, and that's a dive, and that's not going to work. And J&B Surreal's round. Well, unfortunately for J&B Surreal, he's dropping down to 13th. He's going to be under pressure from Denmark behind him. J&B Surreal just tried a move that was never going to happen, unfortunately. That's exactly what happened. Spannel, though, this time, closing the gap on Fake Knutson. Look at the outside at turn 1. Can he do the switch back underneath the Alfa Romeo? He's got good traction. He's trying to get past him. He's going to have to try and lunge into turn 2. He tries to defend the Alfa Romeo. He runs deep, does Spannel. They're still side by side, but that's the Alpine through, and Fake Knutson might get a penalty for that. He's trying to use his battery, but he's got nothing left. And Fake Knutson always going to run right off the road. And that is Spannel up to 8th place. So good fighting on circuit. The guys are getting their elbows out now. We have had a couple of pit stops whilst that's gone on. Denmark has pitted. By the way, just for the record, we do have 2 races this evening. It's just that Hungaroring is quite many laps around this track typically. So we've got 25 laps for the first race. But we're on lap 10. And Frizzy is still all right with Money Game, and tell you someone else who's right with Money Game at the front. So the top 3 are separated by a second. The 2 McLarens now on circuit together. Oh, that's a big slide from the steps, and that's the Mercedes of Praise the Fatty who goes past. Steps just having an error. Jay Evans has joined them as well. So those medium type, that Red Bull looking very quick today. There's more pit stops now happening for the soft tyre runners. Right on board with Jay Evans, this 4-car queue, all lining up behind Dino. Money Game just putting the power down there. Trying to run away from the rest of the crew behind him. But Dino is going to have pressure behind. Fraser Fassi looking very quick at the moment. Following Soa. Frizzy has got DRS again. But I think this time, I'm noticing that Money Game is running a lot higher downforce than the cars around him. Fake Knutson decides to make a pit stop. And that's Fraser Fassi trying to go around the outside of the McLaren at turn 1. Good traction from the Mercedes. Dino trying to hold on, but he's got no DRS, and that is Fraser Fassi up to 4th. Started in 7th place, did the Mercedes, now up to 4th position. Dino the step. Jay Evans up to 7th from 11th. Mello Bello up 7 places from 16th, so he's having a great race so far. But Jay Evans is going to be stuck at the back of this queue, and he's going to be lamenting the fact that he can't get past. I'll tell you someone who might be looking to make a move to get past shortly is Soa. The Aston Martin running in 3rd position, less than half a second behind. And the front 2 leaders are in the pits, so the 2 soft tyre runners have called it a day on those tyres. They're in for a new set of what would be medium tyres. Soa goes into the lead. Fraser Fassi goes on, as does the Steps. Spannell's in the pits. Everybody's on the soft are basically coming into the pits. The medium tyre runners carry on. Soa leads the way then from Dino, Jay Evans. Money Game will emerge in 4th with Frizzy just behind him. Dr. Strauss is going to be close to the back of what were the leading 2 in this race, but he won't be close enough. Lots of action out on track. Big slide from JMB Surreal, just caught that. The man running in 7th position, not yet stopped on those tyres, but Soa leads. He's 9.6 seconds clear of Dino. Then it's Jay Evans. Money Game's a further 8 seconds behind that lot. So currently the gap between Money Game and Soa is 18 seconds. Frizzy's right there, almost within DRS of that Alfa Romeo again. Jay Evans has looked quick today, and he looks like he's got more pace than Dino. With Dino all over the track, and I'm reckoning that Jay Evans, if he gets a good run out of this corner, he might try and make an attack on the Red Bull in the McLaren. Here he comes in the Red Bull. He's closing that gap down to the McLaren. He goes to the inside line. Nice dink to the outside from Jay Evans. He went on the grass then. He's trying to see if he's got better traction on the exit, but the answer to that is no. He will have DRS again. He's going to have to go a long way round at turn 2. This is good action between the drivers. And Jay Evans is on the inside at turn 3, and he makes the move stick, and he's into 2nd. Good racecraft between these 2, but that is the Red Bull up to 2nd place. And gotta say, Jay Evans is on for a potential top 4 here if he plays his cards right. Driven very well so far. That was a lovely overtake on Dino. Now, just a quick update. Money Game is 15 seconds behind Soa, who's just lost 3 seconds in 1 lap, which just shows you the difference between new tyres and 12-lap-old medium yellow-walled Pirellis. Money Game very soon is going to be on the back of Dino and Jay Evans for that matter. Oh, and Soa just picks up a time penalty there at the final corner, so that's going to affect him later in the race. Frizzy again close enough to DRS on Money Game, and he's closing that gap down, but he's just not close enough to Money Game to think about making a move. But the problem that these 2 are going to have now is that they're probably going to catch Dino in the middle sector, and that's just going to give Soa a little bit of respite at the front. Gap now 12.5 seconds. And Moneygame's got so much more grip than the McLaren in front of him, but he won't be able to make an overtake unless Dino goes off the track. You can see corner by corner just how much grip the Alfa Romeo has compared to that of the McLaren in front of him. Oh, and he's running to the back of Dino. And again, twice. Now, is there any damage on that Alfa Romeo as he goes through into third? And Frizzy Prism's trying to do the same. He's got to try and make this lunge. He does. Into turn 12. Soa pits. I'm just wondering if Moneygame got any damage then. He did hit the back of Dino. Perhaps a little bit impatience from the Alfa Romeo there. This might be Frizzy's best chance of getting through. Soa now on the soft compound tyres. Moneygame in the lead. Frizzy's up to second. Soa still coming down the pit, so it's going to be charging in the last part of this race. But Frizzy just can't get close enough. And Moneygame is saved by the fact that he had DRS as well, because he was behind the Red Bull of Jay Evans. So Frizzy in fourth, second place. Soa now in third. He's 8 and a bit seconds behind. Praise the Fatty in steps, fighting for fifth and fourth. Steps isn't quite close enough. There's J&B Surreal, Fake Nutton. Jay Evans in 8th position. He's got a chance of top 5 here. Got J&B Surreal still yet to pit, but that Red Bull on the soft tyres looking very quick. How many times have we said that this season? But the Red Bull looking very quick at the moment. I've got to say Frizzy's doing very well here. He's got onto the back of Moneygame again. And he might have a chance into turn 1 for the race lead. If he plays his card right, he's got the DRS wide open, he shapes a move, doesn't look into turn 1. He's not quite close enough, so the front two very close together on these medium tyres. So we're now trying to work that gap down. J&B Surreal takes to the pit lane. He's going to fall outside the top 10. Fake Knutson is being overtaken by Jay Evans for 6th. And Dino gets past Denmark at the same corner. So the soft tyres now really starting to work well at this point in the race. I feel like Fake Knutson is going to be a bit of a sitting duck for Dino. In fact, look at that, Dino all over the back of the Alfa Romeo. He's on the inside at turn 6 and 7, but he just can't make that move. We're following the onboard, or rather the outboard camera of the guys fighting over what is 5th place. I have to say though, Frizzy looking much more competitive on these medium tyres. He shapes again for a move into turn 1. So is getting the gap down to the front two, by the way. At the front, look at this action though. Dino and Fake Knutson. Dino goes through. And I think Denmark's probably going to get Fake Knutson as well. There's so much on-track action. Here comes the Alpine. Spanel watching the two behind. He's going to brake a little bit later. Is the Alfa Romeo. Tries to go around the outside. It's all about the traction now, and Fake Knutson went over the curb. He can't do anything about that, and he drops down to 9th. And it's a case of Fake Knutson holding on, because Spanel and Mello Bello are right with him as well. Everybody else in their own fight at the minute. Soa is still closing the gap down to the front two in the meantime. But Mello Bello running in 11th place in this pack of cars, which is currently fronted by Denmark in 8th position. Oh, that's wide from Mello. Very close to the back of the Alpine, and that's a time penalty. I think that's a bit harsh on Mello. He did run deep into that corner. And that's a move for the lead. That's an overtake for the lead, and Frizzy Prism's gone through. On the exit of turn 1, Frizzy took his moment, took his chance, and he's got the race lead. Bear in mind, Soa is only 3.5 seconds away, so don't rule that out yet. That's a fight that's going to come back to the front too. But Money Game down into second place. And Frizzy's looked good on these medium tyres. He's looked quick. He's looked like he's been a lot closer. There's a yellow flag out there. I think Sick Boy's had another problem at turn 1, and he has. But Frizzy's looked comfortable on the medium tyres. He's looked much more competitive compared to Money Game, but this is far from over. It's all on the battle of the battery here. They both have very different levels of battery. Round the final corner they go. DRS wide open for Money Game, and he's going to take that move before we get to turn 1. The Alfa Romeo back in front. Frizzy down to second. Soa will be watching this. He's only 2.5 seconds away, but his time pass is really going to cause him grief. Those soft tyres will still be good for a couple of laps yet, so he's not out of it. The Steps trying to find a way through on Praise the Fatty. Oh, he's going to try it at turn 1. Oh, that was too close for comfort. I think they made a little bit of contact. They're side by side through turn 4. And I've got to say, the Steps barging through into 4th place. Whilst that's been going on, Miller Bellows up to 10th. Fake Knutson and Co are all fighting over these positions, having a great scrap. Oh, Spannel got that all wrong over the curb there at turn number 4. Didn't go to plan at all. These three are fighting so hard that Dr. Strauss is right with them now. He's recovering from his incident earlier. It's been a very exciting race. Lots of action all over the circuit. But I've got to say, hey, at the moment, out of the penultimate corner, he's got a good chance of getting through here. Fake Knutson fighting and defending for all he's worth, weaving across the track. You can only do that once. Dr. Strauss goes past Spannel. Mello's got to try and navigate his way past this Alfa Romeo, but he just can't seem to do it. He won't make a lunge into turn 2, that wouldn't be wise, but Dr. Strauss has joined them now, and this will become the fight for the last point in the top 10, I feel, because Dr. Strauss on those softs is going to be very quick. Fake Knutson. Oh, and Dr. Strauss has got a penalty. Oh, Fake Knutson having another big wobble. Just about survives. There's so many cars fighting for position here. Oh, Spannel running into the back of the Mercedes. That was an accident. Got that all wrong. Fake Knutson just parking his car on the apex. He's trying everything. He doesn't want to lose a point. Oh, another slide from the Alfa Romeo. How did he catch that one? Oh, and that's Dr. Strauss at the inside. He fires the Alfa Romeo off the road. That's a yellow flag. Praise the Fatty's in the wall, and that's a safety car. Well, this will change the outlook entirely of the race. In the pits go a few drivers who will be delighted at that outcome. Dr. Strauss didn't go in the pits. He's missed out there. Praise the Fatty lost it on the exit of the final corner. The Mercedes is out. We're going to have a sprint to the finish. Everybody, I imagine, is going to be going for soft tyres. I can't imagine anybody not doing that. The front three are certainly going to change onto soft tyres. Soa was within a second in the end of these top 2. But the field gets reset. We're going to have a sprint to the flag. I'm expecting some more carnage out on track now. Now let's just watch to see if the front three pit. I'd be shocked if they didn't. And they're all going into the pits. They are indeed. So all three of them in for their pit stops. Oh, how close was that in the pit stops? Money Game nearly getting overtaken by Frizzy in the pit lane. That was close. Now, Jay Evans hasn't pitted, and he's come out right behind the leading three. So Jay Evans has decided he doesn't feel like he needs fresh tyres. His softs will be okay. They're not going to be as quick as the drivers around him. But these four have caught the safety car. Everybody else now are going to start catching up. Mikey's retired. Mikey's actually crashed on the exit of turn 2 under the safety car. Oh, and then Fake Nutson's ran into the back of Dino. Well, that is absolute drama. But Dino's got a broken front wing. So Dino tried to slow down to avoid the Ferrari that had crashed out. And then Dino, after slowing down, gets hit up the backside by Fake Nutson, who's also got a broken front wing. And these two are going to have to pit. I don't think Dino's going to be really peeved off about that. He's going to have to come in for a new front wing. And he's going to drop to the back of the field, I think. That is not ideal at all. Fake Nutson just ran into the back of the McLaren. He didn't anticipate that. The yellow flags had been flying around that corner as well, so unfortunately for Fake Nutson, kind of on him for that one. He goes in, gets a new front wing. So the two Alpines will move themselves up to 6th and 7th, so it's been a good race. It's been a good recovery for Denmark as well, who, don't forget, on the first lap was in the wall. Dr. Strauss moves up to 8th. The two AlphaTauris in the top 10. Then it's going to be Lionel Griesby, who moves himself into 11th. Forget, Lionel Griesby scored his first point last week. His first ever point in Gavra racing. He's only going to be right behind Milo Bello. There's a chance for another point for Ferrari. I know that the Tifosi won't be happy with the underwhelming season that Ferrari have had. Dino saying that Mikey stopped on track. I don't know, Dino. I don't know if he's crashed and then it's stopped on circuit. Not sure, to be honest. I didn't catch it, but it looked like from the indicator he had already retired by that point. So I don't know. I don't really know. Maybe it might have been the AI that took control of the car. Who knows? But whatever's happened, it's put Dino at the back of the field, and I can understand why he's upset about it. So we expect the safety car to come in at the end of this lap. Jarno and Dino should catch the safety car. I'd be surprised if they didn't, considering where they are related to it. There you go, safety car in this lap, so everybody gets slowed down. And Jarno makes the back of the queue, Dino also there. So we will wait to see what this last 2 laps of racing will bring. Don't forget the drag reduction system will not be enabled now, so it's just flat out to the end. Not sure what happened with Sick Boy and Fake Nuts, and then bit of an odd one. And Frizzy has to time this. We're riding on board with Frizzy, well I am. He's got to stick with Money Game, but the problem is he went too wide. He went far too wide, and Frizzy's half a second behind. I saw what he was trying to do, but the problem was he wasn't close enough to try it. And Money Game is clear into turn 1. The steps goes past Jay Evans, whose soft tyres are way older than everybody else's around him. There's all sorts of carnage going on further back. That's Fake Knutson up to 12th, Dino up to 14th. And Sick Boy fighting with Fake Knutson now as well on the exit of turn 2. But Frizzy is pushing hard at the front. This is the penultimate lap of the race. The Steps is in 4th. Jay Evans is still 5th. That's Dino out. So I don't know what's gone on, but Dino's retired. 2 AlphaTauris in the top 10. Then it's the Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, Red Bull and the Aston Martin at the back of the field. But Frizzy is getting on with this. He's right with the Alfa Romeo. We'll find out from Dino what happened in a moment. But the front three are all together. They're all very close. And I fear that Money Game, he hasn't had the quickest car in a straight line. He's about half a second clear into the final corner. Dr. Strauss is dropping places. Oh, but Money Game using that downforce out of the final corner. He's going to be clear onto this final lap. So is there in third. The Steps has joined this crew. He's within a second. Jay Evans is doing everything he can to try and defend from Spannel. There's all sorts of fights happening all over this circuit. Fake Knutson going for a late lunge on Lionel Griesby. And he runs over the grass. He's probably not going to have the traction off the corner. He's trying to bounce off Lionel Griesby. I'm not sure what he's doing. Oh, and there's more contact at the back. That's Yarno and Sick Boy together. But this is the front where we're watching. That's yeah, Dino saying a lot of chaos has gone on there. But Frizzy is right there. Oh, Lionel Griesby's in the wall. He's out as well, so a nightmare for Ferrari. But Money Game, he was a little bit slow off the corner. Frizzy, he's right there with the Alfa Romeo, but he's going to have to try and look to do something unorthodox. It has to be noted if he wants to go past this Alfa Romeo, but I don't think he will. Money Game's just got one corner to navigate. It should be enough. And that it is. It's the Alfa Romeo with another win this season. He takes victory from Frizzy. The Steps ends up third thanks to Soa's penalty, but he still ends up in 4th for Soa. Good debut result. And Spannel takes 5th. And the rest of the field all very close behind. Well, that race threw up a lot of drama at the end there. But it is Money Game again taking another victory. And I think Gav will be looking to say that Money Game won't be able to race in Tier 2 next season because he has been dominant. Well, let's have a look at these provisional race results. It's Money Game with the race victory. Frizzy in 2nd, the Steps in 3rd. Soa and Spannel rounding out the top 5. Jay Evans and Denmark are 6th and 7th, with JMB Surreal taking 8th. Fake Knutson and Dr. Strauss takes the last point. Milo Bello just misses out in 11th. Sick Boy 12th and Yarno the last classified finisher. Lionel Griesby is counted as a race finisher because he's within the 90% finishing rule, as is Dino. And I also think Mikey would be classed as, actually no, he's not, he's DNF. And praise the fatty who brought up the safety car. Those are the 2 retirements. So we have another race coming up shortly. It'll be a one-shot qualifying and then a 25% race here at the Hungary ring, and we'll be back in just a moment. So, welcome back then. We're here for the final part of the session here at Gavra Racing. It's a one-shot qualifying ready for race 2. We've lost a couple of drivers. I've noticed we've lost 2. I'm not sure quite who that is yet. We'll find out in a few moments' time. But there's a lot of names flying up and down the field at the moment. Currently, the man at the top of them all is Dr. Strauss, leading into Sector 1. Fake Nutson's hit the wall. He's out already. Well, Dr. Strauss looking very quick here. He did say he was going to win race 2. But it's so close between the top 6 that anybody realistically could. Yeah, Sower's gone and Lionel Greasby. Those are the 2 that have gone. But Money Graham now back at the front. And he's having a good fight into the final few corners. But look at that, the top 7. Money Game just went from 1st to 7th. This is how close it is. For the final corner, it's all about getting this line completely right. Let's see how they get on towards the line. Who's going to be on pole? It is Frizzy Prism at 15.9. Those are the qualifying order. Let's have a run through this. Look how close it is between the top 7. Frizzy takes pole from 0.2 of a second from the steps. Dr. Strauss of Denmark, 3rd, 4th. Then it's Evans and Money Game. From 2nd to 6th are separated by 0.05 of a second. Unbelievable. Dino 7th, Praise the Fatty 8th, Jamie Surreal and Span on 9th for 10th. Then outside of the top 10, Milo Bello and Mikey, Yano and Sick Boy, and Fake Nutson retiring in that qualifying session. But wow, that was exceptionally close. Great qualifying from that top 6 drivers, top 7 drivers within 0.4. That was unbelievably close. Denmark saying in the comments he's going to mess up the start, so don't worry. For those drivers that are watching the stream alongside racing, do let us know what the weather looks like. It's dry currently. We're going to have a dry race. So here we go then, we've got the 5 red lights here for the 25% race here in Hungary. And the race is live. Off we go then towards turn 1. Who's going to make a good getaway towards their first corner? Frizzy Prism gets across the track ahead of steps. He's going to be comfortably clear into turn 1. Lots of shuffling about in the background, but Frizzy has the lead in front of the steps. Then it's Dr. Strauss, Denmark. Money Game's up to 5th, but the problem is he's got Dino alongside him. There's a yellow flag out there. That's Yano and Jay Evans have gone round. Not sure what's gone on there between those 2. Money Game fighting to go past Dino, and he does. He's up to 5th place. Jay Evans, I didn't quite catch it, but unfortunately, he has dropped backwards. We'll run you through the top 10. It's Frizzy, then it's Steps, Dr. Strauss, then it's Denmark, Money Game, Dino, Spannel, Praise the Fatty, then JMB Surreal and Mikey round up the top 10. Those 2 in the top 10 at the back of the top 10, that's 9th and 10th. They are running the medium tyres, so different strategy for those 2 compared to the cars around them. Fake Nutson also on the medium tyre, so any free drivers deciding to use the harder compound tyre early on here in this Grand Prix as Money Game looks to the inside of Denmark into turn number 12. Difficult to go through there unless you're absolutely committed. But Frizzy breaking away from the steps already. He's nearly got a second. And that's a good start. Oh, the steps runs very deep into turn number 14. He got away with it. That's a good start for him. Denmark under pressure from Money Game, who can't find a way through. So far, so good. That's 3 wide at turn 1. Mikey gets forced out wide. Fake nuts. Oh, it's still 3 wide. That's going to be a bit of a mess. And oh, and that's off the road at turn 2. And I don't think sometimes drivers are fully aware about 3 wide situations, and that's what happened there. Mikey was wise to back out of that. But I have to say, there's been a bit of aggressive driving today so far. The top 8 all within a second of one another. Obviously, the steps is outside of that gap to Frizzy, who's pushing very, very hard at the moment. We're on board with Money Game. Don't forget, he won the first race. He'll want to try and get through. He's going to look to try and overtake Denmark at turn 12. He brakes on the inside. He's going to be on the outside at turn 13. I've never seen anyone go around the outside of here before. But I tell you what, he is trying it. He's still there. He's going to have the inside line for 14. He's going to have to be brave. Going to be an element of trust between these two. And Money Game goes through. That's a lovely overtake from the Alfa Romeo. DRS now enabled on this lap. I don't think Money Game was... I think Money Game was planning that overtake. He tried before at turn 12 on a lap previously, so he's clearly got some confidence at that corner. But his lowest qualifying position of the season so far, season running in 4th place. Dr. Strauss is the car in front of him. Big wobble from the Mercedes, actually, as I said his name. Spaniel within a second of the, well, just about, but as I said that, he's dropped out of it. Praise the fatty right there. J&B Surreal, Milo, Bello, Mikey, Fake Knutson. It's sick. The 2 Red Bulls way outside the top 10, so I'll have to find out from J. Evans what happened to him, because he qualified well. But unfortunately, he is down 9 places from his 5th place start. He would be in this group. Now, can Dr. Strauss get DRS to help protect him from Money Game? I think the answer to that question is yes. And the problem for Money Game is that he doesn't quite have the straight line speed of the cars around him. He's clearly the fastest driver on track right now, but Dr. Strauss is not defended into turn 1, and Money Game will do all he can to go through. He's on the inside. That's nice traction though from the Mercedes. There's a Red Bull round. It's J. Evans. And Dr. Strauss is going to fight this all the way through, but Money Game's gone round the outside at turn 2 before. There's a yellow flag still out there. Oh, there's still contact between the 2 drivers. It's going to be a run towards turn 3. Who's going to be brave enough? They both are, but Money Game goes through and he's into 3rd position. Well, Money Game was extra committed then, and he had to be. Money Game's charge now means he's going to be going after the steps next, but Denmark will also want a piece of the fight for the podium. The top 5 have just got a bit of a gap to Dino, who's run a little bit deep at the penultimate corner there. Hasn't got DRS. Praise the fact he doesn't have DRS either. Mikey's got the attention of the Alfa Romeo of Fake Knutson behind him. Well, this has been a nice fight so far from everybody. And that's a pit stop for Sick Boy, the Red Bull coming in and getting a new set of medium tyres on. Money Game just can't find a way through though yet. A Sick Boy going for the hard tyres, so clearly not worked out well for him so far today. Money Game really on the back of the rear wing of that McLaren. He's pushing up very hard. The steps having a wiggle through the chicane that's at turn 6 and 7. Got everybody else trying to fight for position as well. The gaps just have elongated a little bit. Oh, Dr. Strauss running very wide at turn 11 then. This is where Money Game though is at his best. He's very quick at that turn 12. For whatever reason, he seems to get the car pitched in nicely, and he's just all over the rear spoiler of the steps. He tries to take a wider line to try and get on the power a little bit better, but Money Game's there. There's not much the Steps could do about this. It's going to be a move into P2 for the Alfa Romeo. Unless the Steps wants to try and fight back. I mean, the Steps will look to do that. And he's still close behind, so the Steps will want to try and stick with the Alfa Romeo. Dr. Strauss has got Denmark for company, not the country, just the driver. And Praise the Fatty is right with Dino. J&B Surreal leads a group of 2 others of Spanel and Milo Bello. The 2 AlphaTauris having good races today. They're clearly having a good time. For whatever reason, they seem to be just well suited to this track. This race has got the hallmarks of it changing. There's a Red Bull round. I think Sick Boy. No, it's not. It's Jay Evans, who's lost the front wing. I was just about to say this race has got the hallmarks of something about to completely change. Now the Steps is in the pits. Now the Steps is in. He's trying to do the undercut on the cars around him. In he goes. That means he's going to drop right down the field, probably behind Mikey, I imagine, but at least he's in for a new set of medium tyres, and he's going to have a lot of space in front of him to push that compound. Not far away from Frizzy Prism, don't forget, there's a yellow flag out there. Who's that who's gone round? Oh, I think that was Denmark who's gone backwards, so sadly for him, it's not worked out well. He was right with Dino and co, he's not anymore. So the 2 Mercedes running 3rd and 4th. J&B Surreal up into 6th place. There's Spanel, Milo Bello, Denmark, Fake Knutson in 10th place. Don't forget the Steps has pitted, so let's see if that gap comes down. Just watch these, 22 seconds behind our race leader, who is in turn being caught by Money Game. The closest fight on track is between Milo Bello and Spanel, who Milo Bello having a time of his life today. Really good to see him fighting in the points. And in fact, the other AlphaTauri of J&B Surreal looking very quick as well. Those medium tyres that J&B's running are clearly working. Dino goes into the pits, so he's going to put a new set of tyres on. So he's going for an undercut as well. Everybody else carries on for another lap. And that's Denmark in the pits too. And the Steps is closing the gap. I've got to say to Frizzy Prison, that gap's now 20.8 seconds. It is working for the McLaren, but will it work enough when he comes out in the pits later on? And I imagine that Frizzy and Money Game will come out at the same time typically. Milo Bello trying to find that gap to go past Spanel. J&B Surreal is less than a second and a half behind Praise the Fatty. It's a great story if he can finish in the top 5. Further forward, the 2 Mercedes on track together, Dr. Strauss and Praise the Fatty. Down through the gears into 3rd. Bit of a glitch on the car then. The front 2 have gone into the pits. Now the Steps was 19.5 seconds behind. This is going to be close. Dr. Strauss carries on. Praise the Fat Man goes into the pits. J&B Surreal obviously is going to stay out. He's on those medium tyres. Spanel now in the pits. Milo Bello carries on. Fake Knutson and Mikey will move up the order as well. And Praise the Fatty gets a time penalty, so that's not perfect at all for him. He's going to drop down the order. You're going to see Fake Knutson and Mikey move into the top 5, and the Steps is going to go through. So his undercut of 2 laps has worked, and he's in front of Frizzy Prism and Money Game. What a tactic that was from the McLaren team. He's in front of those guys with 9 laps to go, and you've got a blockbuster of a race going on ahead, because these 2, or rather these 3, are behind Mikey and Fake Knutson, who are going to be fighting for position. So the Steps can't pull away from those guys behind. The Steps is going to get frustrated. He's looking to try and go past Mikey. That's a late lunge, and he's got that all wrong. It's not really an overtaking manoeuvre from the steps, to be honest. But he knows he's got to get past Mikey as soon as he can, and that might be his chance. Oh, Mikey's lost the back end. Oh, and Frizzy runs into the back of him. I think Money Game hit the back of him as well. There's a yellow flag out there. I think it's just for a slow car. I don't think much of it. Now, has Frizzy broken his front wing? That is the problem. Because he hit the back of the cars in front, and he hasn't. He's carrying on, and Money Game's carrying on as well. And the steps is trying to get past. There's a yellow flag still out there. This is looking very close. There's a safety car. Whoa, that was close down the back straight. Jeez. Well, I tell you what, that's all been initiated by a bit of chaos from the front three who were leading this race before the before the pit stops came out, trying to overtake cars. And I say this legitimately here because J&B Surreal is 13.5 seconds ahead of the steps because of all the chaos behind him. Could we see J&B Surreal on the soft tyres potentially take the lead? Which would be a plot line that would be circum unheard of in Gavra, but it would be a wonderful plot line to have. He's 13 seconds clear. Fake Nutson's going to pit for soft tyres, so he's going to get out of the way of the steps and co shortly. And the whole field is going to close right the way back up. I mean, that would be unbelievable. I can't recall when the last time J&B Surreal led a race was, but he's looked very good tonight. Let's see then. He's in the pit lane now. The steps is round in the penultimate corner. Don't forget, everyone's got to stick to a limited speed. And Money Game is going for the pits again. And I can understand why he's doing that. Everybody else, well, Dr. Strauss has stayed out. Dino stayed out. J&B Surreal is going to emerge, not in first. He's going to be potentially third. Fake Nutson's gone for intermediates. Is it getting, I mean, it does look overcast, but is it going to rain? I mean, I'll tell you something, if Fake Nutson has, yeah, Denmark's gone for intermediate tyres as well. I wonder if these guys are thinking it's going to rain very heavy at the end of the race and they can go past everyone. It's bone dry at the moment, but goodness me, we've got a few plot lines here with 7 laps to go. This is all up in the air. A few of the, Mikey's gone back into the pits in the Ferrari. The reason why I say that is because he's just pitted and he's gone for the intermediates too. Well, well, now that is brave. If they are going for that strategy. Now, hang on a second. Money Game has just overtaken Fake Nutson off track. And it looked like there was a bit of teamwork going on there. And I think Gav needs to have a look at that because you cannot overtake under safety car. And it is raining. It is raining. It's raining here at the Hungaroring. Now, is it going to be heavy enough? That is the main question. If it does rain heavily enough, those that are on the intermediates are going to be absolutely laughing to themselves. We shall see. Does anybody decide to gamble to go in the pits now and just take a chance? Dr. Strauss is one of them. He's going to go for the intermediates. I think if you're Praise the Fatty and Sick Boy, I'd be bolting on a set of intermediates just because why not? Praise the Fatty doesn't, Sick Boy does. Wow, this race has got, I tell you, it is getting heavier. It is getting heavier. Shortbread saying it's going intermediates. I think it's getting heavy. Lap by lap, the track is going to be greasy now. I think those that have pitted for intermediates are going to be in the best place with a few laps to go. Wow, I mean, if you're a gambling man, this is unbelievable what we're watching right now. We've got a mixture of strategy. We've got J&B Surreal on for a podium. with the rain coming down. He'll be on a good set of tyres to use in this wet weather. They'll be much better than the medium shod drivers around them. Money Game's 7th, don't forget, on soft tyres. Praise the fact he didn't pit. He's the only one out in the top 10, surrounded by intermediate drivers, who hasn't pitted yet. And I think it's getting heavier. I think there's just a few lines appearing on track. There's a couple of cars who are yet to catch up. Mikey and Co are the ones who are yet to catch up. And Dr. Strauss, for that matter. And Jay Evans is quite a long way away. Safety car in this lap. We have 5 laps. Oh, Steps has gone off the road. And Frizzy would have been fully entitled to go past the Steps then. Wow, look at that. That's how difficult the conditions are. So those that are on dry tyres are going to be floundering at the end of this race, I'm sure. Does anybody decide to bolt on and put a new set of compound tyres on? Frizzy does. He's had enough. He knows he's got to go for it. He's got to pit. He's going to drop to the back of the field, but it's worth a gamble. And off we go. The start of the race, we go again. So Frizzy's going to lead, but then it's the Steps actually in front. Then it's J&B Surreal. Dino's in 3rd place. Milo Bello 4th. Spannel and Money Game are in 5th and 6th. Those are the dry tyre runners. Oh, it's Money Game's going to dive one up the inside. J&B Surreal's fighting with Dino into turn 1. Little bit of wheel-to-wheel door banging. They've got to be careful into turn 2, these guys. Dino breaks a little bit later, but J&B Surreal's got the better tyre in these conditions, it has to be said, and he stays in front. J&B Surreal looking for a race win. Unbelievable. Fake Nutson's just moved up to 6th place. I mean, who can you see getting a win here? Spannel backs out of it. Anyone on the intermediate tyres could win this. This is how unbelievable we are at right now. There's all sorts of carnage going on, but Fake Nutson is the man who's on a mission. Money Game goes up to 4th. He gets past Milo Bello. And I think it's clearly wet enough. It's clearly wet enough. Fake Nutson could be on for a race win here if he plays his cards right. It's all just down to survival at this point, because praise the fact he goes past Spannel for 7th, but I fear it's a moot point because the intermediate tyre runners, look at Dr. Strauss trying to go around the outside. Is anybody going to go in the pit? Yeah, they're coming in. They've got to go in. They know they've got to go in. Milo Bello's had enough. He knows he can't hang on. Oh my goodness me. 5 laps to go. It's Steps leading. J&B Surreal 2nd. Dino and Money Game fighting over 3rd place. Then Fake Nutson's on his own in 5th. Spannel's got his teammate alongside him. Dr. Strauss goes through as well for good measure. And Gav is trying his utmost to try and keep on top of this. He's doing a great job. But Fake Nutson's the quickest man here. He's already caught the top 4. Dr. Strauss, Spannel in 8th place, but I fear he's going to get overtaken in a moment by the rest of the crew behind on those inters. Mikey's going to try and look to this inside line. He can't go through there. And I do feel for J&B Surreal. Where's Money Game going? He's off the road completely. He's actually just overtaken off track. Oh, and it's all going to pot for the dry tyre runners. And Fake Nutson's getting caught up in all this. It's just allowing Denmark to close the gap now. There's all sorts of action. Fake Nutson's up the inside of J&B Surreal for 3rd. There's a yellow flag out there. I don't know who's gone round. I think it's Dr. Strauss actually who went round. There's another yellow flag. That's the Mercedes. That's Praise the Fatty way back where, and J&B Surreal calls it quits. Oh, and then there's a contact. And what is Dino doing? That's an illegal manoeuvre. He can't do that. And those that are on the Money Game leads the race, by the way. Fake Nutson's 2nd. Mikey and Dr. Strauss are going to be fighting for 3rd. Oh no, that's contact, and Dr. Strauss has gone round. That was always going to happen because Spannel just has no grip on those tyres. These guys are fighting for what could be the net 3rd place in the race. The Red Bulls are making contact. Jay Evans is going to go past Sick Boy. And I think Jay Evans is going to try and go around the outside of Mikey at turn 3, which would be unbelievable, but he doesn't manage. I don't know how Spanel's staying in front, realistically. He's just about hanging on. But Fake Knutson could be on for a first win since the pre-season event at Monza quite a long time ago. And Money Game just moves out of the way. He knows he can't fight. And that's a change of the lead. 4 laps to go. Absolute drama. I'm going to be honest with you, Mikey's behind Spanel and he's taking a mother and a mare about it. He needs to get a move on. The Ferrari is being very slow at getting past Spanel. He's got to go for it now. Up the inside at turn 12. He goes so deep, he's actually going to lose the spot to Jay Evans. He got past Spanel in the end, but unfortunately, it's not where he wanted it to be. And Frizzy Prism, who pitted earlier, that was the right decision, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? He's up to 7th. It's working out well for him. He might recover to a podium, Frizzy, if he's smart about it. There he goes, past Spanel up to 6th. Money Game is dropping down the field. He's got 6 seconds to Jay Evans, though. Oh, my goodness me, this is all over the place. Fake Knutson leads. Denmark is 2nd. Money Game is just going to have to tiptoe all the way home. My, oh my, this is fantastic. What a race we've got here, everybody. Frizzy trying to go past Mikey for 5th place. The Red Bull of Jay Evans is now 5 seconds behind Money Game. There's a yellow flag out there. That's Spanel, and his medium tyres can't hold on anymore. He had to try something different. He always does, and I always appreciate it when he tries something different. But sadly, his time comes to an end. Mikey is trying everything to hang on to this position, but Frizzy is going to go through. But I tell you what, Mikey could be on for a really good points finish. Jarno is out of the race, by the way. Money Game is now 4 seconds in front of Jay Evans. And I think Money Game's going to be... Oh, I'll tell you what, we've got to fight for the race lead here because Denmark is right with Fake Knutson. He's closed the gap down and he's looking very, very quick. This is for the race lead, everybody. Fake Knutson, who was leading the way, kind of comfortable. He's got the inside line. He's going to have to try and defend from Denmark in the Alpine. Money Game is trying to hold on. I'm seriously impressed with Money Game, just hanging on those soft tyres. I don't know how he's doing it. But Denmark, what a glorious chance this is for a first win in Gav. Oh, race director doing his absolute utmost to try and hang on for the action, everybody. It's really challenging in these conditions. There's so much going on. The steps has gone backwards, by the way. He was off the road. But Denmark is all over the rear diffuser of that Alfa Romeo in front of him. These two, don't forget, were the first to go on the intermediate tyre. Jay Evans, by the way, is less than 2 seconds behind Money Game, and I think that Frizzy will probably catch Money Game too. And I think Money Game's decision to stay out, whilst the brave one, is only going to net him 5th place. But they've got to get past him first, and Denmark is trying to do that with Fake Knutson in front of him. He's got 1 lap to go after this one. This is it. Here at Gavra, Denmark is all over the rear spoiler of that Alfa Romeo. He knows he can get a first win. Up through the gears, 4th gear he'll go to in a moment. He's going to use all of the battery deployment he can as Fake Knutson does the same thing. This is the final lap of the race. Money Game is about to get overtaken by Jay Evans. I can't see how he holds on realistically into turn 1. That Red Bull is going to have so much more grip going into turn 1. He actually runs into the back of the Alfa Romeo. We're trying to watch all the fights here, everybody. It's so hard. But Jay Evans surely is going to go through. Yes, he does. Up to 3rd place, and I think Frizzy's going to join him. I'm still watching the fight for first, by the way, just keeping an eye on it whilst everybody else is watching the fight here, because this is it. The final lap of the race. And Denmark might have a little line here. He might be able to go through. No, he can't. Fake Knutson's placing his car as best as he can. Denmark will have realistically 1 chance to go through, but that's a big snap of oversteer from the Alpine. Money Game drops to 5th. It's going to be game over for him. I think that's the best he's going to do. He's far enough ahead of Mikey. He's got a time penalty, but this is his chance. This is it. Denmark's going to look to the inside at turn 12. He's right there. He's on the inside, but he can't make the move. Fake Knutson squeezes and squeezes, and he's gone off the road. And is that it? Is Fake Knutson going to be the victor in what has been an unbelievable final few laps here at the Hungaroring? It is Fake Knutson who takes a season win proper here at Gavra. What a race. Fake Knutson with the victory. It is Denmark in second, and it's Jay Evans who hangs on for a podium. Fourth goes the way of Frizzy. Money Game does get fifth in the end. I don't know how he's held on with those tyres. Fair play to him. Dr. Strauss, after facing the wrong way into turn one, takes sixth. Denmark's not happy about the no space being left. Well, it looked like there was enough room. I don't know. I'll let the stewards decide that one. The two AlphaTauris are 7th and 8th. Mikey ends up getting points for Ferrari, and Sick Boy does get a point for Red Bull in 10th place. The Steps 11th, and Spanel did actually go on to intermediates in the end. Is gonna finish the race. Dr. Strauss about Mikey. I don't know if you saw this actually, Dr. Strauss. Oh my God, Spanel's actually crashed out at the final corner. He's not even going to get a finish. Dr. Strauss just putting about Mikey. I don't know if you saw it, Dr. Strauss, but Mikey had to dart to the inside because he just smashed into the back of the, I think it was Spanel in front of you guys. And you just got wiped out. It was, you know, it was Mikey's fault, but it wasn't intentional. Definitely from the camera angle I had. But Fake Knutson is a race winner in Gavra in season for what I feel is the first time. He won the pre-season events, don't forget, a while back at Monza. That wasn't on this game, it was on the previous one on F122. But he'll be chuffed with that. Well, what a race in the end that was. It is Fake Knutson who wins it from Denmark. Jay Evans gets a podium after looking like he wasn't even going to score points at one stage. Frizzy takes fourth, Money Game is fifth, Dr. Strauss in sixth position, Milo, Bello and JMB Surreal, the two AlphaTauris, scoring points again. Mikey in ninth and Sick Boy finishing in 10th position. The Steps, Spanel, all classified in that, even though Spanel crashed at the final corner. Jarno and Dino retiring from the race alongside Praise the Fatty, who brought out that safety car. Well, everybody, that was a very eventful race that we've just had here at Gavra. I've got to say, one of the most incredible races that we have had in this championship, but it has ended in absolute frenzy because the Alfa Romeo team have got themselves another race victory, but not from their usual number one driver, Money Game, but from their teammate of Fake Knutson instead. We are going to have to see what the drivers say in the interview area. I'm sure there's going to be lots to be noted. Well, that was absolutely frenetic at the end of that. I'm glad to say that we do have our race 1 winner joining us. Money Game, you're here. Good to have you with us. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, brilliant. I can hear you today, which is good news. Tell us about that first race, Money Game, because obviously good race win, nice fight with yourself and Frizzy, but explain that from your perspective.
I was trying to get him out DRS, but he always got me in the last 201 corner. So yeah, but I had my ERS, so I tried to gain time, but then yeah, there was like my tires went off about 10 or something, so I went in pit.
Yeah, but you know you had a good fight with him, and that. Did you feel like that safety car in the first race helped you in the end because DRS got disabled and it didn't come back on? Do you think it helped?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The
Sure.
way I managed to keep people like behind, I was really happy with that. So I'm just sweating, so I'm just gonna calm myself down, and then yeah, I'm happy with the points I got today.
Yeah, I was going to say, because fair play to you being able to finish 5th on those soft tyres. Why did you decide to stay out? Did you think it wasn't going to get heavier in terms of the rain, or did you just think try and survive?
Well, the past few races I've had, when I've been online and that, it's never got that heavy with the last couple of laps. So I thought, okay, I'll just stick out on softs, because I'll just lose time, I'll be out all the way at the back again. But then that didn't work, so I had ERS, that never helped. So I just blasted it all in the last lap, which I just made myself worse because I would have lost. I nearly lost it at some point. So I got hit at the first corner by accident, but he was on intermediate, so yeah.
I mean, obviously, what you've done is you're edging yourself closer to another Weekend League 2 title. You're off to Mexico next week. How are you feeling about running around there in terms of that track?
Good, but I'm not happy with the straight, so I need to work on the straights. But yeah, I'm really happy with the corners on that track, and yeah, I think that track suits me the most. But Azerbaijan doesn't suit me at all, so.
All right. Well, in any case, for yourself, Money Game, well done today in terms of the race victory, and well done for surviving in that second race as well.
Thank you.
So that was our race 1 winner. I'm looking to try and get some comments, hopefully, from Fake Knudsen, who won the second race there. And we will wait to see if he responds. I do hope he does, because I don't know if he's going to join the chat. Obviously, I know Denmark isn't best pleased about how the race turned out. But I would like to see if anybody wants to decide to join in. I know that Steps would typically, but he's not shown up. In fact, Fake Knudsen says he's got no real comments other than the fact that he's very happy, which I think is the main thing, to be honest. So that's where we are then in terms of the race here in Hungary. What a frenetic and fabulous last couple of laps that was here in the Hungaroring circuit. What a race in the end. We've got a race coming up in just over an hour's time for Tier 1. The drivers there will be battling, and can the championship head all the way to the final round? We shall see. But from me, Jack TM53, your commentator for Tier 2, the drivers here will be back next week in Mexico City for the penultimate rounds of the season. So wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one and see you in just over an hour.